Welcome to Duo Chat with Brittany and Cynthia, where we talk about drama shows from shows ranging from the 90s to today.
Hi everyone, I'm Brittany,
And I'm Cynthia.
and today we're talking about Season 4, Episode 3, titled Two Gentlemen of Capeside, air date October 18th, 2000. And the synopsis is
Pacey, enlightened by getting good grades, decides to take a sail on his boat and Jen goes with him as company. Meanwhile, Andy has an interview with Drue's mother for a college acceptance letter, and everyone's plans change when a big storm rolls into Capeside, trapping Pacey at sea and Jen at sea, where Dawson and Joey steal a motorboat to rescue them, while Andy takes control of the situation at the yacht club to wait out the storm.
Did you like this episode?
Yeah, it was interesting, with the whole storm and them being out there. And, even though you could tell that they really weren't out at sea.
Well, I liked it much better than that hurricane episode in Season 1,
Oh, yeah.
because the hurricane one was so boring. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, because it didn't even, really hit them
Mm,
like they made out to be.
yeah. Um,
And now,
so,
now Drew's going to Capeside?
yeah, all of a sudden he's in class with them. Oh, and we actually know his name.
Yeah,
Like he's a full-on student.
yeah.
Um, so when they're in class,
Talking about Shakespeare.
do you think this is like their English class?
Has to be.
Of course, the play they're talking about is about
The three.
the love triangle.
Yep.
Like out of any book. I mean, they couldn't even do Romeo and Juliet. They're literally talking about something I've never heard of. Have you heard of this play?
I didn't write down what it was. No, I don't think I do. Because it wasn't, Hamlet. It was something else. We only did Romeo and Juliet and then Hamlet in school, I think. So,
Yep.
and I think he has a lot of other plays besides those. So I don't know. Yeah.
Why is it we only did those ones?
I don't know. It's the most famous ones, I guess. Most well known, probably. Like, I feel like everybody knows Romeo and Juliet, but not really Hamlet too much.
Yeah. I don't even remember Hamlet.
I do. I got an A on that test.
Of course you did. What class was that?
English.
See, that's why.
Junior year.
Teacher didn't like. Oh, junior year?
I think, at least for me.
At least we were the same class or the same grade.
Yeah, we didn't have the same teacher though. Or did we?
We
no, that was senior year. We had different English teachers, I think. Because remember that the one I had was also my choir teacher.
That was your senior year?
Yeah, for English.
Oh, must have.
Yeah, so I think we had different teachers senior year.
We did, because I had the same one for junior year that I had for senior year.
Yeah, so yeah. Yeah, so we did Hamlet and Romeo and Juliet in the... Or no, wait, no.
No,
We didn't do Romeo and Juliet in junior year. It's just Hamlet, I think.
I don't even know when we did Romeo and Juliet.
I think that was sophomore year when I wasn't there. So it was hard to... It was boring to read by myself. It was so long. I didn't know it was that long. I'm like,
I'm going to be honest. I couldn't read a thing.
Yeah, cause it's just so old English too. It's hard to...
One sentence I
cannot... what they're saying.
Yep. I can't comprehend what happens in the one sentence.
Yeah, it's a whole different language at this point.
I know. I'm always like, where's a dummy version? Like, that's what I need.
Yeah, so because of...
Okay, but how were you did you like when Drue was playing with Joey's hair?
No, I'm like, why are you even touching her? How do you even get sitting behind her?
Like, he must have got to pick where he was sitting, because he was just playing with her hair, and
talking to her.
Didn't she say she's gonna draw blood or something?
Yeah.
I was like, where'd that come from?
Well, she did punch those guys before, so...
But it was just funny. I was like, out of nowhere.
And then with her, Dawson talking and debating about the play, and...
Well, because first,
he brought
the teacher called out Joey because she was distracted. Yeah. And because he's like, what's the play about? And she was like, So then she finally gave her input, and Dawson makes a sound. I didn't even know if it was laughing or what. And then he was like, oh, Mr. Leary, you have something to add, and he's like, no, I'm good. And then he's like, no. And so that's when they went back and forth. And he's like, no, it's about the two best friends. And then Joey's like, well, it's about the girl too. And it's like, oh dear God, do we have to live this over again?
Yeah.
Well, we had when they came forward with their relationship in season 3, we had to hear about the movie that was about them. And now we're hearing about the play about them. Because remember, the two best friends in the movie were not going to be best friends anymore. Yeah. As in relating to them. And then now here, it's about the two best friends again. What? I can't with this.
I know, it's so annoying.
Like, I'm surprised they didn't do Romeo and Juliet about Dawson and Joey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, here we go.
Yeah, so the 3 are stuck making a project about that.
But I did think is it weird that the person in the play's name was Valentine? And Drue's last name is Valentine.
I did not even notice that. That was probably on purpose.
So is it really about Drue?
It could be part
That's what I mean.
Yeah, part of it.
At first, it sounds like it's going to be about Joey, Pacey, and Dawson. But then the last name is Valentine.
Yeah.
And that's Drue's last name, and Drue gets to be a part of the group.
Yeah, so...
And I went, all right, now Drue's a part of this?
So it could be Joey, Dawson, and Drue, or...
That's what I mean.
So Joey, Dawson, Pacey, and Drue. It's... Too many guys.
Yeah, Joey's got too many. Mm-hmm. So I just thought that was weird. I'm like, of course, the play is about some dude named Valentine. Yeah. And then Drue's last name is Valentine. Yeah. And then Jen gets home, and Graham isn't happy about Jen skipping school and listening to sad music since Henry broke up with her. Well, it was weird because Graham's is like, what are you doing home? Like, I'm supposed to be picking you up in an hour. Yeah. I thought that was weird. Well, first of all, I was like, wait a minute. Graham's picks Jen up from school? That's news to me. Yeah. I would have thought, like, she would have walked.
Yeah. They all walk, it seems like.
I didn't think that they get... It's always new, isn't it? Mm-hmm. When somebody gets... Pacey's dad, remember, drops them off to school, which is bullcrap. Mm-hmm. Jen's grandma picks her up from school. Right. Bullcrap.
And there's no bus, so...
I just don't see it. And they always say it's a small town. It's a small town. Well, I would think if it was that small of a town, they would all just walk home together. I mean, her and Dawson are neighbors. Right. They would literally walk home together. How does Dawson get home?
I don't know.
Or
maybe
Mitch.
His dad, because he works at school.
So. But then wouldn't Jen just go home with Mitch?
Yeah, I don't know.
This is what I mean. Like, okay, and think about it. If your neighbor works at the school, you would probably just go home with them. Yeah. And, instead of walking. Mm-hmm. So it's just weird that Jen wouldn't just go home with Dawson and Mitch. Right. Yeah. I don't think they put these things together. Mm-hmm. The only, oddballs would be, Joey and Pacey, but they would just go home together because they're dating. So. Right. Yeah. And does Andy have a car?
Does she still have? But...
She did before her treatment.
Yeah, and then we haven't seen her drive since then.
Nope.
And her being mentally ill like that wouldn't have
affected her.
Or maybe it could, because if she was written down for having hallucinations, maybe then she would have had her license taken away.
Because she had it in her car.
Yeah.
The first time.
So maybe she did lose her license. That's why we haven't seen her.
Why don't they just tell us?
I know. I don't know.
But again, we never really see Jack drive either.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I don't know.
Does he have his license? I mean, I know in this episode he picks her up with Dutch. That's what I'm trying to say is, who's got a car around here?
Mitch.
I meant kid-wise.
I don't know.
Literally, nobody has a vehicle in this town. Yeah. And you can't say it's because it's a small town. Because we came from a small town, and a lot of our students drove. Mm-hmm. So you can't say it's because of a small town. Yeah. I mean, I know you weren't going to, but people that are from a big city might say that. And you can't because we're from a small town, and a lot of our peers drove as soon as they got their license. Yep. So I'm just saying that it's just weird that on a TV show, especially a teen drama, they are not having the kids drive. You know what I mean? When you look at other teen dramas.
Yeah, I was just thinking
they're all driving.
I'm like, everybody's driving.
Everybody drives. Except maybe like one person, but the rest of them drive and they just hitch with the other ones. You know?
Maybe the show couldn't afford to get cars to use. I don't know. That really is weird.
But on other shows, they don't necessarily show them driving. You just know they drove because they get to a destination and they say so and so drove. Or they say, I'll pick you up. So they know. So we all get the hint that somebody's got their license.
Well, like,
do you know what I mean?
And then like Gilmore Girls, Rory drives maybe twice.
This is what I mean.
And then she did get her little car from what's his name? Mm-hmm. First boyfriend, Dean, mm-hmm. Yeah. Who made her the car, but then Jess crashes it. So I think she has a car by the time she's in college. I don't know. So she drives a little bit, but
I'm just saying, like on teen dramas, it's weird that a couple people do not have a license, or at least that they don't have a car.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I think that's the worst continuously. What's the word again?
Consistency.
Yes, that one. That's the worst that you can do in a show because like they can drive 1 minute and then they can't the next, and
they have a car and then they don't.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is reality. Mm-hmm. A lot of kids, as soon as they get their license, they get a car.
Yeah.
Or they borrow it from their parents to go back and forth to school.
Yeah.
Or to go to the movies or something. You know, because you always see on shows, too, them asking permission from their parent, hey, can I have the car tonight?
Right.
I'm going on a date or whatever. So there's always some connection to them being able to go somewhere because they got a car. On this show, for some reason, they do not show them going anywhere. And you can't even say it's because of the 90s. Because Beverly Hills 90210, they have cars. And we see them in their cars. So you can't even say it's because of the 90s. So I just find it weird that it's a teen drama and they are not driving.
Yeah, no, it's weird.
Like, how are they getting anywhere around here?
I guess walking.
No wonder why they all got to date old people, because that's all the way they're getting around. I thought you'd get a kick out of that one.
Yeah, that was funny.
Because you hate the old people dating young people.
Yeah.
So we go back to school in the hallway. Mm-hmm. And Pacey was like, hey, which I have a thing about, but he says that, after school, let's go on the boat. Here's my thing is, Jen's walking with him up to Joey. I have actually two things. The one that popped into my head was Pacey is supposed to be taking 3 classes after school. How in the world does he have time to go on the boat? First of all.
I know.
And secondly, Jen arrived at school for 1 hour.
Yeah, I guess.
Remember, Graham said, I'm supposed to be picking you up in an hour.
Yeah.
So that means she literally went to school for 1 hour.
I feel like she wouldn't
What would be the point of that?
Yeah, she wouldn't have been able to because the teachers would have been like, where were you? And she would have got in trouble.
Or she would have been half hour late, which means she would have been half hour into the class, and they would have said, like for us, if we were, what would it say? If we were 5 minutes or something late, you were just considered absent.
Right.
So I don't get how they would have just allowed her to just show up.
Right.
For 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make any sense to me. I was like, wait a minute. An hour and then now she's at school.
Right.
I don't agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also don't agree with Pacey would just be able to go on the boat because he's supposed to be in his classes. And also, we find out that Pacey got an A.
And we don't even know what.
But did you hear him?
Yeah.
First of all, he's, once again, third person reference with him. He says Pacey got an A. Mm-hmm. I've heard that before with Andy.
Yeah.
It literally took me back. Mm-hmm. I was like, I've heard him say that before.
Right.
But they were acting like it was his first A.
I guess of the year. I don't know, the last couple of years.
Or his first day with Joey.
Yeah.
But I was like, Pacey's got an A before.
Yeah.
With Andy. But I guess because it's his first A with Joey?
Yeah.
Because when he got the first A, Andy was helping him. Joey must be helping him with this one. I don't know. But I literally was like, I've heard that before.
Yeah, that was funny that after Jen volunteers to go sailing with him, she says 2 conditions. She will not be making out with him, and that there's a strong possibility that she'll get sick. And then Joey's like, those are my 2 things.
But
And then also just with Drue, Dawson, and Joey working out their project at the yacht club.
We're not there yet.
Okay.
We're still in the hallway.
I just want to say that they wouldn't have been able to do that at her workplace.
She's at work.
I know. They wouldn't have been able to do a school thing.
Well, and two, like, in the hallway when Joey says she can't go. And she's like, and she finally gets, because he's like, oh, I feel like I'm missing something. It's like, yeah, a big part. And then she says, yeah, I'm working on a project with Dawson. And, it's like mandatory and stuff, and that she didn't choose this. And, it's just funny because Michael, of course, it has to be with Dawson. But yeah, she didn't say it was with Drue either, so because I don't think Pacey has met Drue.
Right.
And then but then it was funny because but then Dawson was like, hey, do you want to do this at my house, or what did he say, the B&B? And then she was like, oh no, I have to work tonight, so the yacht club.
Right.
And yeah, I agree. Dawson and Drue would be able to do it.
Right.
But Joey's on the clock.
Yeah.
I don't get how she could. I was thinking that too, like watching it. I was like, if she's supposed to be working, why would they pay her to be doing homework?
Yeah, and then Drue wasn't even helping after a minute. So.
Did you really think he would?
No, but I thought...
Like when the teacher gave him the assignment and said, oh, Drue, you want a part... Like, I want to hear your third opinion. And it was like, I didn't really think he would help to begin with.
Yeah, and he was also on the phone, too, with Gorgeous, so Joey, like, picks up the phone.
Who's Gorgeous?
Remember he said Gorgeous?
No, I do. I was just teasing you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so you want to cut to that scene.
Yeah, as his doctor, and says he'll have to call you back after the syphilis clears up, so.
Well, because it was funny because he answers the phone, and Dawson says, unbelievable, and Joey goes, unacceptable, and takes the phone. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
And also, why did they think that Drue was going to help them? And even if he did, do they really think they would get an A with Drue? Drue seems like the person that he pays people to do his homework for him. He doesn't seem like the person that just gets A's.
Yeah.
On his own. Because, he reminds me of Chris.
Yeah.
Where he's rich. Yeah. He's rich and just gets on by. By, I don't know, his personality? I don't know, because I didn't really think Chris had a good personality either. Because all he did was use girls. So I didn't really think that was, and be mean to the, other students. So I didn't really think that was, a good personality. Like, I don't know what the heck the girls saw in him.
Yeah. And then,
just like I don't know what people see in Drue, but okay.
Yeah. And then Drue says that he can sense the sexual vibe between Joey and Dawson.
I do not feel or see the sexual vibe in Dawson and Joey.
Neither do I. And then he compared them to Star Wars characters, and that's when Joey's calls Drue the
By the way, you are jumping way far.
That's the same scene.
That's
when they were talking after the phone call.
Yeah, but we're not even there.
Okay.
We're still at the beginning of the episode.
Okay, I'm just skipping over things I thought were important.
Well, we go to Andy. And she is getting ready for her interview with Mrs. Valentine. Because what is Mrs. Valentine?
She's an alumni at one of her backup schools, so not even like her.
What is the backup school? Like, what is her backup school? They never really say it.
Yeah, she doesn't say it.
Yeah.
Just backup.
And then she's asking Jack, oh, how do I look and stuff? And then she's all like dizzy and like tipsy kind of.
Oh yeah, from
And
side effects.
then because then he like brings up her new meds. And I'm like, because she goes, oh, I think they're working, but they got some side effects. And clearly dizziness or whatever is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, oh, Andy. It's like right when something's going good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she's finally getting new meds. Seems to be, her head's on, right?
Yeah.
And then but now she's got the side effects going on. But
I think they only threw that in for what happens with Miss Valentine later.
Because she's not stable?
Like a foreshadow, like that was gonna be brought up in the interview.
Well, you knew it was gonna be brought up.
Mm-hmm.
And
then
but then Dawson,
his parents.
yes, before he goes to study, we find out that his parents are sick. But what I thought was gross was that Dawson says to his parents, about like if you just keep your tongues out of each other's mouths. I was like, who says that to their parents?
Yeah,
that was just like messed up.
Yeah, he actually said throats. I guess because they've been making out a lot, and like when we do see them, they are kissing, so that makes sense.
Okay, but who says that to their parents?
Yeah, no,
like, would
gross.
you say that to your parents?
No.
That's just gross. And then they said that's just marriage.
Yeah.
And then they're sitting all cute, and I'm like, I don't know too many married couples that would just like be all cutesy sick together. Normally it's like, get away from me.
Yeah.
And then
Dawson brings up that he's working with Joey.
Well, yeah, and then Gail was like, oh, and Pacey, because then he says that he's not Pacey Watch 2000, and I was like, remember a while ago when we were ending the 90s? And I said, is this going to be a thing where we then talk about the 2000s? Well, here we are. It's 2000 and we're talking about 2000s. Like we're actually using the reference 2000s. Yeah. Just like the 90s. Huh. I feel like this is just going to be a run of the show, isn't it?
Probably.
But yeah, I was like, really? Watch of 2000s. All right. And then I literally wrote, here we go. Again, like, we have to reference what year it is or what decade it is. When Pacey and Jen are on the boat, he brings up trying to avoid that Joey is with Dawson right now studying. And he's like, literally says, her ex-soulmate.
Oh, yeah.
I wrote that one down. I was like, her ex-soulmate? Really? What'd you have to say? Because remember, in Dawson's eyes, that's still a soulmate. So the fact that Pacey's referencing it as her ex-soulmate is funny.
Yeah, and maybe that just means, too, that Pacey, doesn't think that Joey will leave him for Dawson now. Maybe he fully believes that Joey loves him.
You mean Joey isn't her, will not leave him?
Yeah. And then that's when the storm starts picking up a little bit, and Jen's like, did you check the weather? And he's like, yeah, it's just going to go past us.
But also, she checked the weather, remember? Because when Grams was like, here's an umbrella, and Jen's like, oh, haven't you seen outside? It's nice outside. And it's like, but Jen, you also apparently checked the weather, and apparently it was nice. Now, how far away are they in the water?
I have no idea.
Remember, like, I think it was, season 4, episode 1, I was talking about how I would never be that far away from shore. Especially in that boat. Yeah. Like, I don't even want to be on a ship, let alone that. This is what I mean. It isn't even a good day out. Yeah, like it is horrible out, and they are on this little boat.
Yeah, like
nope, you would never catch. I'm Jen. When she was getting scared and like was ready to throw up, that was me. I was like, I would not. I'm Jen all the way.
Yeah, because like we do see a map for a second when Dawson's looking at it, but I didn't like look at it to see like how far away they are. I just didn't bother to look at the map.
Yeah, but you can just see that there's no land around.
Yeah. Yes,
because I can even tell you when you do see land, it's still miles and miles and miles and miles away. It's not like it's nearby.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by you don't see anything. They are literally out there. I mean, and how did they get out there so fast?
With the wind? I don't know.
Okay, and wasn't it scary when the boat was tipping?
Yeah.
And Jen's like, what is that?
Yeah, she was worried they were to capside.
So yeah, I thought so too. Yeah, and he was like, oh, this boat doesn't do that. And I'm like, it looks like it does.
Yeah. And then another minor character, Mr. Brooks, walks in and asks for his usual table.
Oh, another thing though about the boat.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell it was TV.
Why?
Because in that storm, there is no way Pacey would be able to walk across the top of the boat without falling in.
Yeah.
He would go overboard.
Right.
Because think about it, he was barely holding on. And I was like, and then he was dealing with the flat, or the, like whatever. And I was just like, there is no way you would be able to do any of that in that weather without falling in.
Yeah.
Because one wave will put you in the water. I mean, I've been out in the lake, okay, when it's horrible. Okay, you want me to tell you a story? Okay. God, where were we? Okay, because, Michigan's got how many lakes?
I know.
No, I mean, like, Lake Michigan, like, Huron, all that.
Okay, the main ones, yeah.
Yes. I forgot which one we were on. And, because we took this boat ride with my dad's friends and stuff.
Yeah.
And so we were on the pontoon, and we were going through, like, smaller lakes, but the one lake went into the big lake. I just don't know which one. This is really bad because I'm in Michigan. But one of them. And I remember I literally was scared to. I was Jen. I was scared to. We're in a pontoon and I was scared to death. I was like, we're in the ocean. And my dad goes, Brittany, we're not in the ocean. And I was like, well, it looks like the damn ocean because I couldn't see land. I said, turn around, get me out of here. I'm like, I'm going to die out here. And I'm like, and I felt like that on one of our lakes. I could not imagine the ocean. No, but here's where I was, Jen. We were on the pontoon. All we did was go to the opening of the lake. And it was horrible. Wave, boom, boom, crash, crash. I was like, we were literally on the floor of the pontoon. First of all, the waves were so bad, we could not hold on. It was like twist. I don't know. It was bad. And I thought we were going to die. And we all were yelling to turn around. This is a bad idea. So we did turn around, and it was like, oh, thank God I can see land. And again, it was just the opening of the lake.
Yeah.
And here they are in the middle of the ocean. There is no way that would happen. Know what I mean? They're not on a ship.
I know.
They were on a small boat that would tip right over, first of all. Especially with those waves. Those waves would get you. That's what I'm saying is, okay, and here's the thing. Okay. Our river.
Yeah.
Made me almost fall in.
When?
When I was a kid.
Oh.
Okay.
What happened?
So, again, boat story. We were on our boat and just riding, and I was little and light. And I was sitting right in front of my dad, who was driving a boat. Thank God. I had my life jacket on. And let's just say we hit a wave, but we all went up. The boat went down. Brittany was still up in the air.
Oh my gosh.
But let's just say where the wave hit, I was on the other side of the boat. And my dad reached over, because I was right in front of him. He reached over, grabbed my life jacket, and pulled me in.
Wow.
It was bad. And, I mean, luckily it was when I was a kid and I was like, I couldn't imagine what happened now.
Something like that kind of happened to me.
And so I was like, no wonder why I'm so afraid of water. And I was like, that was bad and terrifying, and I'll never forget that one.
Yeah.
And my dad even says it to this day, that story. And again, one bad wave can get you. And they're in the ocean. Yeah. They were in a goddamn river. And even the lake I grew up on, I go to every year. I remember this story too. It's always bad story. I got my jet ski, right?
Mm-hmm.
So happy. I also got it at the end of August,
Mm-hmm.
beginning of September.
Uh-huh.
Because it was Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, I now have to ride this for 10 straight hours. Well, not 10 straight hours. I have to consecutive hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, but you have to ride it in order before you winterize it.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Well, in Michigan, you only got a couple months of good weather.
Right.
So I was like, okay, we now have to ride this Labor Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad and I are on the jet ski, and we have no clue. Like, I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm just nodding to my dad, acting like I know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And we're literally the only ones out there. I looked around and I said, Dad, why is nobody else on the water?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I don't know.
It was too cold?
Well, first of all, it was freezing. The water was ice cold, but the waves were horrible. I thought we were in the ocean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know damn well we weren't in the ocean, but
the wind.
It was so bad. I was like scared to death. And yeah, I had my life jacket, but again, I don't try to trust the life jacket to save my life. And we barely could even go fast. It was wave after wave after wave. I was like, Dad, I don't feel good on this.
Mm-hmm.
We even got stopped by the cop. By the sheriff. The sheriff was like, oh, what are you guys doing? Yeah, the sheriff's like, what are you guys doing out here? And we're like, oh, just got the jet ski. And he was like, oh, okay, well, just be safe out here. And it was like, the sheriff was going in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I told my dad, I said, Dad, this wasn't a good idea. I was like, the sheriff, the only other person out here is headed in.
Yeah.
That should have told us to turn around.
Mm-hmm.
And, okay, so you remember the opening where it takes you to the South Park.
Mm-hmm.
It was so bad. We had to stay on the north side.
Yeah.
I was like, Dad, and I hate that opening because you've been on it.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime, I hate driving the jet ski through there because I get hit with the waves every goddamn time. Mm-hmm. I even tried to change the mode and everything on it, and I just I always get hit with the water, and I hate the water. But yeah, I'm just always like, just that lake. Yeah. I could not imagine Lake Michigan, Lake Huron. Mm-hmm. And then when you can't even picture that, I can't even picture the ocean. Yeah. I'm like, I can't. I cannot imagine those waves. Mm-hmm. And I actually, because there's a part in Florida where you can go and you can watch the boats kind of go into the ocean, right? Mm-hmm. From like a part of the lake, whatever, to the ocean. Yeah. And we'll sit there and we'll watch. I remember I was like, that boat shouldn't be on this water. That boat, because this is going into the ocean. Y'all are nuts. And I remember I was just like, there's no way I'd be on that boat. That boat. Why is that pontoon out here? No. And then you'll see bigger boats and you're like, okay, but it's nothing of Pacey's. Pacey's is still small. I'm like, I would not be on that boat on a good day. Mm-hmm. And again, these waves for the ocean on a good day are bad. Yeah. I can't imagine a hurricane going on. Mm-hmm. Like, that is, I don't think you would survive. Right. There was no way Pacey and Jen would survive this. Do you think so? No. On that little boat out there. Nope. There is no way that they would survive on that boat without being tipped over and falling in or anything. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I don't buy it. And even when he was, okay, and the other thing was, she was on the ground, right, in the boat. Mm-hmm. He was literally just standing there at one point. And I went, okay, that's not realistic. Right, yeah. Because again, you're holding on for dear life. Mm-hmm. And he was just standing there. And I was like, that's not realistic. Mm-hmm. To me, it wasn't realistic. Yeah, it wasn't to me either. They should have made it look really bad. Yeah. Like, for those two. Yeah. Because there's no way. Like I told you, on a smaller lake, it was bad. Mm-hmm. But then they lose the radio reception or whatever. Right. And then remember, Jen's like, nobody knows we're out here. And then he says, Dawson will find us. What did you think of that?
Well, I was surprised that Pacey was going to trust
Dawson.
to find them after everything. Because, like, what if Dawson never even was at the... I mean,
He knew
Pacey
he was
knew he
there.
was there, but what if he wasn't at the club that night? Like, what if they finished a project earlier, or the project was never a thing, then he wouldn't have been there?
But he knew that because Joey said, "I'm working with Dawson tonight."
I know, I'm just saying how different things would be if he
Well, he wouldn't have said Dawson's name if he knew they weren't together.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was a little too much trusting in Dawson because Dawson has been saying how much I can't stand Pacey. And so I just thought it was a little too much because I didn't really think Dawson would go and save him. You know what I mean? Like, right. Dawson could have just kept his mouth shut. Because, Pacey's like, well, we used to go here as kids. And Dawson even kind of says that too. When they're trying to find them. And Dawson right away is like, well, Pacey would go here because that's where we went with his kids. And it's like, but again, Dawson didn't have to say that.
Right.
He didn't have to go the extra step. Now, do you think he went the extra step because Jen was on the boat?
Maybe, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if he really would have saved Pacey, but
right, yeah.
He was, that too. But Jen was out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he cares about her.
Right.
Whereas kind of like Pacey, well, you can go fend for yourself.
Right.
But in Andy's interview
mm-hmm.
with Mrs. Valentine.
Right.
Of course, her mental illness gets brought up, which I cannot stand. Like, how does that even happen? That you can turn somebody away for having a bad week or, and they went to treatment. Like, I'm not saying it was a week, but I'm just saying, like, how can you, because, like, that's something serious. That was life or death for her. And how can you just judge somebody? Oh, you're not going to get into the school because you went to treatment.
Right.
She went to treatment and got help.
Mm-hmm.
That should not define her.
Yeah, that's what she says. But the thing is...
But how does that happen? It's messed up.
Yeah, but the thing is, Miss Valentine should have never even known that because all that would have been confidential. Like, I mean, it would have maybe been... I feel like she wouldn't have access to that.
But she was reading her transcript or something.
I don't know. I mean, would colleges get that information about a student? Maybe. Well, I don't know how that works.
Because she saw that she was missing days.
Yeah.
Because remember, she did leave before the end of the year. But I don't get where she would be able to see where she went.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wait, did she say where? Or just treatment?
She said treatment.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing was, there's no way you would get that.
Yeah.
Like, you would get their attendance.
Mm-hmm.
And that would show you she's missing days.
But I wouldn't say why.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that'd be breaking HIPAA law.
Yeah. Andy would have to be the one to say, I went to treatment.
Right. So really, that question of her treatment would have never been brought up in the first place.
It shouldn't have been. And I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, and even if it did, like we said, like Andy,
would have to be the one to say it.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying that it wouldn't mean anything when it came to her school, her college work ethic.
Well, but it's just so messed up. Like, that's the one thing that's not going to get you in.
Mm-hmm.
You're the top student.
Right.
But that's not but that's the one thing that's not going to get you in. I just don't agree with that. Like, if you're all better and you can get doctors to sign off that you're better, you know what I mean? Like, let's take it a step forward further. Let's say she's got the doctors on her side. Like, she's worked through her crap that she had to deal with, which was her brother passing.
Right.
Like, and again, don't you think, I wonder if it would have mattered why. Because her brother died.
Right.
Her brother was in an accident.
Yeah,
and died.
Yeah, and
it's not like she just turned to, like, drugs and went all, that side.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she literally had a problem because her brother died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's different than just getting in the wrong crowd or having a bad day. It was literally because of something. Like, if her brother didn't die, she would be 100% okay. That's what I'm trying to get with, you know?
Yeah.
Is I just wonder if she could have said, this is the reason, if Mrs. Valentine would have just shut her mouth.
Maybe, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, unless she just...
Because if I had to judge that and I heard Andy say that, I'd have been like, oh my gosh, well, you know, 100, you know, because it's different. It's different than her just turning into the wrong crowd like Jen did. It's just different.
Yeah.
So again, you can't, I would think if you had to judge, you would have to judge on their circumstances.
Right.
Not what they went to treatment for. You know? Because again, they're two different things. But I could not stand Mrs. Valentine treating Andy that way. Because again, the next time you see them, the two of them, Andy's like, oh, we're going back to that again. Like, that seems to be the only thing on your mind. And I'm like, exactly. She's a freaking bee. Yeah, I did not like her. But what did you think when, right from the start, though, Mrs. Valentine was like, about the question, like, who would you like to have dinner with or whatever? And she says Eleanor Roosevelt. And then
most people say Jesus.
I was like,
that was funny.
What? Do you think most people would say Jesus?
Unless it was like a religious college, because they have those, but I don't think... I guess maybe Andy is really going for any backups. I don't know. That would make more sense for the answer, but I don't know.
But do you really think people are going with Jesus?
No, I think they would go with Andy's, route and think of somebody historically, important, that made a
did good.
difference. Yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, if it was an essay, maybe that would be...
For what, though?
I don't know. I feel like maybe in like an essay could really make more reasons why you would want that that choice, but I don't know. That was funny that she said that.
I was like, most people say Jesus? So because Andy had a different answer, is that good?
I think so.
Like,
yeah.
I wonder if that's the reason why they said is because it meant that maybe she has a chance, before the whole it turns into craziness talk, as in Mrs. Valentine getting so personal. I wonder if that was like, oh, she's doing good because she said a different answer than everybody else would have.
Yeah, maybe.
But then it turned ugly.
Yep.
And then Annie, when Jack comes to get her, she's like, Jack's like, it's getting ugly out there. She goes, not as ugly as it is in here.
Yeah, but I'm glad she held her ground with Miss Valentine and,
yes, because she is a bee.
Yeah, didn't let Miss Valentine make her feel bad for needing help or anything like that. So I was proud of her for that. Yeah, and then so the storm is getting stronger and nobody knows until the last second because Drue was supposed to be keeping an eye on the weather report, but he was too busy talking on the phone. Completely missed the writing across.
Who?
Apparently Gorgeous, that's her name. But
I just wanted you to say.
Yeah, so he missed the little weather report headline at the bottom of the screen.
But it said Cape Cod.
Huh?
It said Cape Cod.
And not Capeside?
Yeah.
I thought it said Capeside.
It says Cape Cod.
Oh, well, either way, he missed the weather report for somewhere.
Well, yeah, he missed it for Cape Cod.
Yeah. And then that's when Joey goes to TV and sees it herself, and then that's when Mr. Brooks is like, I need my receipt so I can go home, and she's like, not now, Drue, give him his receipt. And he's like, he said that he didn't want to do it, and she like yelled at him, like, get his receipt, and everything like that. And then that's when, then she finally says that Pacey and Jen is out on the boat.
But first when she was talking to Dawson, and Dawson's like, oh my gosh, like, if we're gonna keep referencing Pacey in this play, might as well talk about it and then move forward. First of all, Dawson can't do that. Secondly, because it's gonna be Dawson's whole life now. And secondly, like, my thing is like, Joey says, like something about like, the 10 years of friendship. I recall in season 3, they say 16 years that Dawson and Pacey have been friends. And now Joey's going 10 years.
Yep, I know.
What in the heck is going on here?
Yeah, it was 16, 10 years, whatever, many years, keep going different directions.
Yep, they keep going back and forth, though. Yep. What year? I can't. Why can't they just be serious for once?
I know.
I'm like, I thought they met as babies when they've been friends for 16 years. Yeah. Now, all of a sudden, they've only been friends for 10.
Yeah, so Dawson is just telling Joey that, she said she was sorry, but Pacey hasn't.
But that was the thing. He said, because Joey's like, well, I was part of this too.
Yeah, the betrayal.
And he was like, yeah, well, Pacey's not sorry, and you apologized. Can we fast forward to the end of this show when Pacey goes and confronts Dawson and apologizes for what all happened? And Dawson, I literally was like, here you go, Dawson. Here's your forgiveness that you told Joey you were looking for. And yet, nothing. Like, it's just Dawson. He says that that's what he wants. That's what he's looking for. No, it's not. You're just the victim in all of this, and I can't take it anymore. Like, at some point, own up to it, forgive him, and move on. Because this is just annoying. And I know it's going to be more of this.
Yeah, I think he did want an apology, though. At least somewhat.
He did want an apology, but then he told Joey basically the reason why I forgave you is because you apologized. And Pacey, the reason why I didn't forgive him is because he didn't apologize. Well, here he is full-heartedly giving his whole heart to you. And you just shut him out. This is what I mean.
Maybe because he needs time to...
No, this is just awesome.
Because he needs time to forgive Joey, too. He didn't forgive her right away.
Yeah, kind of did. But here you go. Okay, what did you think, though, when Drue said, oh, here, you can just take my dad's boat or whatever, and really it was Mr. What's-His-Face's.
Oh, yeah, I was wondering how he got the keys.
She's a stealer, but...
Yeah, he could have pickpocketed them.
Yes, Drue would have done that. Mm-hmm. But what did you think when he literally said, here's the keys to my dad's boat, when really it was to Mr. Whoever?
Yeah.
And why would the guy go there when there's a storm?
Guess he really wanted that food there that they have at the yacht club. He wanted his usual steak dinner or something.
But if there is a storm, I would not be going to a restaurant.
I know. He just maybe thought it would be a quick in and out thing.
Aren't you supposed to be, like, tying down your house?
I don't know. He just probably thought he had more time.
It was weird. I'm like, there should be nobody at... The yacht club should actually be closed down. Mm-hmm. Nobody should be there.
Yeah, exactly. And then, Pacey's radio died, of course, of all times.
Yeah, I said that.
Because he had it for, like, it was working fine when he was out with Joey for those 3 months, and now it's broken.
Okay.
That's the worst time.
What I thought was funny, though, was when, at some point, they were, Pacey and Jen were arguing. And Jen was like, because Pacey's like, oh, it's all okay. And Jen's like, then why am I flat on my ass? Yeah. I was like, oh my God. I feel like that was like the best line.
Yeah.
And how she delivered it was so funny.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, you got a point there.
Yeah, so that's when Pacey spots that cove or remembers the cove to go to. I don't know about coves very much. It's just like a little cave, kind of underwater cave, right? But it has like a little area you can that has room for something to go in it on top of the water. I feel like the waves still from the storm would make the boat hit the cove walls or something and break it like that. Unless it's like a big cove, but I don't know.
Sure.
It was hard to tell. Even when they were in it. Like, you couldn't really tell if they were in anything. So.
Yeah, I wasn't listening. They were just on top of the water.
And then, Jen's like, how will anyone find us if you don't know the name of the cove? And
yeah, he said Dawson. Yeah. Oh, okay. So Dawson is going, right, to go get them.
Yeah.
Joey's going with them, and then they're arguing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Joey's like, I can't worry about both of you. Mm-hmm. My thing is, Dawson is not a sailor.
I know.
Why is Dawson... Remember, Dawson needed Mitch's help to drive drive the sail
yeah, in
the boat race.
He did drive his dad's boat.
Yeah, crashed it.
Yeah. But he was distracted.
But I'm just saying that he's not a sailor. He's not a boat person.
Yeah, he doesn't have much experience.
So why would he go out in the storm?
Because he's thinking about Pacey and Jen.
I'm just saying he's not. They acted like he is this great sailor boat person, and he's not.
Yeah.
He is the total opposite. He needed his dad's help to be in the boat race.
Yeah.
And that was just a boat race.
Yeah.
This is something serious where you're going to die in the water.
Yeah, I guess he just doesn't have time to go get Mitch for his help, but he's just thinking about Jen and Pacey. He's not thinking about what might happen to him.
I know, but they wrote it really bad.
Yeah. And that's too why he didn't want Joey to go with him, but
I think Joey would have been better at it than he would have.
Yeah, maybe.
She went sailing for a whole summer with Pacey.
Yeah, she
so I'm sure I'm sure she learned a lot. Okay, so did you like it when they're out there? And well, first Andy takes control of the whole situation.
Yeah, because Miss Brooks doesn't know what to do.
And I thought it was funny when she yelled at Miss Valentine. You said Miss Brooks.
Oh, so I meant Valentine.
When she told Miss Valentine,
I was looking at my notes.
Well, these are the numbers to Dawson's parents and Jen's grandma. Call them and tell them.
I was kind of surprised she knew the numbers. You know,
right away. 555. I'm
like, is she even close enough to Jen to? I mean, no, they spent the summer together, but I don't know. Yeah, they would have. Never mind. Yeah, they would have talked on the phone probably sometimes.
It was just funny, but then but right off, she just knows it. And then I thought it was funny when she told Drue, clean up the glass.
Yeah, find a broom.
And then he said something to her, and she goes, you aren't doing anything. It was so funny. She was so good.
Yeah, because cleaning was like beneath him.
Yes, everything is beneath him. And so I just thought it was great. She's taking control. But then, Dawson and Joey obviously spot them and obviously bump into them. Literally, the boats crash into each other.
Yeah, because Dawson's not good at stopping, apparently.
Well, it is the ocean.
Yeah.
And it is choppy out there. You're gonna crash. But I thought it was funny, though, that, well, first of all, they didn't tie down the boats, so how would they even be able to, the boats would not be able to sit there right next to each other.
I thought they did tie them.
Did they? I don't know.
Because Dawson said that's what he was going to do. Or
maybe he did. But then they get Jen over there.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Pacey's staying on the boat.
Yeah, because he doesn't want the boat to go down.
Well, that's his baby.
Yeah.
And then and then Dawson jumps on the Pacey's boat. Pacey, get off my boat, Dawson.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, that was funny.
And then they both jump because Dawson's like, I'm not leaving you.
And like, there's other people that care about you more than the boat.
Yeah, because Joey's yelling, Pacey.
Yeah.
So then he looks at her and jumps. But I will tell you, you don't want to leave your baby.
Right.
Like, my jet ski is my baby. It was the first big purchase.
Yeah.
I can tell you, that's my baby. And it's like, no, you wouldn't want to leave. You're both there.
Right.
In the ocean. You know, it's like you'll never see it again. It's going to wash up somewhere else.
Yeah, or sink to the bottom of the ocean.
Well, clearly it doesn't sink.
And then before that, Pacey and Jen were talking about their regrets. I was surprised that Jen said she's never been in love, because I thought her first love was Henry, but I guess not.
Yes, but she keeps she's trying to tell herself she hasn't been in love.
Oh, so she won't hurt as much, probably.
Yep. Because then she can say, I've never been in love.
Yeah.
Because that's what she was telling Dawson was, because when Dawson was kind of hinting, you have been in love, she was hinting, I haven't been in love.
Yeah.
And Dawson's like, if you just let yourself feel it, you can love again, which would mean you were already in love.
Right.
And for her, she's just still trying to tell everybody she's not in love. And then Pacey's big regret is how him and Dawson are right now.
Yeah. I was actually surprised for him to hear that, because I thought he would be like, you know, still like accepting that his friendship with Dawson was over. I don't know.
Well, especially because at the beginning,
there's no hope of fixing it.
Well, at the beginning, was it Jen that said, something about you're gonna have to talk to Dawson and fix this or whatever, and he's like, not me and not today.
Yeah.
So it's like you're seeing a shift that, he really does have the regret.
Yeah.
So when they get off the boat, when they're all saved, Gail, at first, she was like, well, because she was like, that was like the stupidest thing, but then Mitch was like, but we're so proud of you and all this, and I was like, oh my gosh, and then Graham's, oh my gosh, she rocked this scene. First of all, Mr. What's his face? He was an ass. He was telling Dawson, because, well, first of all, he threatened remember when he was telling Andy about the difference between jail and prison? He brings that up because he finds out that they took his boat. So then, and Andy said something to him, and he's like, well, that's the difference between jail and prison. And I'm like, first of all, Mr. Snobby Brooks, and then, like, you're going to turn this high schooler in for saving two people's lives. And secondly, of course, he's like, well, my damage. And that's the only thing he's worried about. And then Grams jumps in and was like, if you make him, what was it?
Give his
college fund. I'm coming after you. She was so good.
Yeah, she said that she'll find him and kick his shriveled old butt herself.
Well, that was funny because she was like basically like, I know why you've lived all these years alone.
Yeah, because he doesn't appreciate Dawson's courage.
Or anybody for that matter. He's just rude to everybody.
And then Miss Valentine is impressed with Andy's work taking charge when the storm was going on.
Yeah, and then she said that she'll tell the college about her, and Andy's like, basically like, if the recommendation's coming from you, anybody that knows you will know it's not
worth much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Andy made a call back and said, like,
oh, but I did
understand the position you put me in. Terrible position you put me in.
Because she said that she would turn Miss Valentine in.
Yeah.
And she was like, what? You would do that? And then that's what she goes, like, oh, you put me in this position. But then Andy turns around and says, but I'm not that person.
Yeah.
I don't care about being that person that's, turns people in.
Yeah, she doesn't derive any pleasure in whatever little power she has over others, like Miss Valentine does.
But I thought it was funny when Jack was like, she did your job.
Yeah.
I was like, see, he's being a protective big brother, except for they're twins.
Yeah.
Okay, I will say. When Pacey's all mad about his boat. And then, of course, Joey says, just remember next time you're thinking for two.
Right. Yeah, because she was all mad at him and everything. And...
well, because she said, I've never been more scared in my life for anyone. And I was like, see?
Yeah.
It's gotta be Pacey.
And then Joey tells Pacey that Pacey knew that Dawson was going to find him because he knows him as well as he knows him.
Because they're best friends.
Yeah. It's the nature of best friends. It's still a part of him. How can he be whole when he pretends that Dawson doesn't exist?
But what did you think when Mitch tells Dawson, even, it's kind of like, oh, even like when you're the hero, you don't get the girl. Not like blah, blah, blah.
Right. But he
got more than that because it'll be something that you remember.
Yeah, the good that he did. Where did I read that? Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was funny because when, they're watching Pacey and Joey make out in her car, in her truck. And then it was funny because Pacey, gets Joey in the car and then he looks over at Dawson. We didn't see Dawson, but we saw him look over in that direction.
Yeah.
But then we see Grams like stumbling for her keys and stuff because she was so scared and worried about Jen because she thought she would never see Jen again.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, because Jen's the only family she really has, know? Because her daughter's in New York and we haven't heard or seen her since then.
Well, that's what was kind of weird because when she was telling Mr. Brooks about like being all alone, I'm like, you're in that position too. If it wasn't for Jen, you would be Mr. Brooks.
Yeah, like what happens after Jen graduates,
Right. Or if Jen never came to town and your husband died.
Yeah.
you'd be all alone anyway.
Yeah.
Like, you are him.
Mm-hmm. But that was sweet about the faith thing. Like, Graham says...
yeah. When she was like, oh, you coming to church?
Well, no, not... Yeah, that part. But before that...
I laughed at that part.
Yeah, I thought it was sweet how Graham said she never lost herself before and had no faith when she needed it the most. And that's when Jen says that she lent it to her because Jen was terrified, but she still had hope and knew she had to have gotten it from someone. So
I just thought it was funny because Graham's was always pushing Jen to go to church. And she was like...
Even still.
Yeah, and she was like... Yeah. Even in the darkest time right now, she was like, so you're going to church? And she's like, no.
No, unless you wanted to fall down. That's what she said.
I was just like, oh, that was good.
Mm-hmm. And then, so Jen went back to the club for this next scene? Is that what it was?
I have no idea why. She was outside with Grams.
Yeah.
I thought she'd go home with Grams.
I guess they were taking the long way home. I don't know.
But why would she go back inside?
Maybe because, like, she wasn't even there to begin with. Because it could have been, like, she left something at the club, but she wasn't
like Joey left her books at there. Like,
yeah, I mean, yeah, that could have been something. Maybe they should have said why she went there, because it didn't make sense why she went back to the club. She
should have went back to get Joey's books.
Yeah. And either way, that's when she runs into Drue and finds out that...
They know each other.
Yeah.
From New York.
Yep.
Okay. Who do you think... Okay, without watching the next episode, Cynthia, who do you think he is?
One of her exes from New York? Mm-hmm. Am I close?
I don't know. You're the one that watched the next episode. I can full-heartedly tell you I have no idea. I do not remember how in the world they truly know each other. I know it's New York, obviously, because they hint it.
Yeah.
But that's all I know.
Yeah, so...
But the look on her face isn't very pleased.
Right.
So clearly he didn't do that good in New York because she can't stand him.
Yeah. So now that she knows that he lives in Capeside...
It's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, so now that she knows that he lives in Capeside now, she's like, Drue Valentine, Capeside, God help us all.
Yes, and help us all.
Mm-hmm.
That should be the title.
Yeah. So, Henry's out and now Drue's in.
But see, when you look at the cast,
yeah,
you need somebody, because Abby's not here.
Yeah, somebody has to be paired up with Jen.
Like, well, no. As in, Abby, okay, when we needed somebody to come in and bring the drama,
yeah,
it was Abby.
Mm-hmm.
Season 3 did not have that.
Right.
Who was the person that was bringing all the... nobody.
Right.
Nobody was the one everybody hated.
Mm-hmm.
And we need that.
Yeah.
And here Drue is. He's serving a point because, everybody's in the group that nobody's really doing much. So, let's bring Drue in. Because, again, Henry was not that person. He was the good guy. Well, we need the bad guy.
Yeah.
Because now that everybody's even,
mm-hmm.
we need the bad guy.
Yeah, I just hope, Jen isn't caught in too much trouble with him.
Well, especially because they remember things from New York.
Yeah.
Things they used to do.
Mm-hmm. And then for the last scene, Dawson goes...
you mean Pacey?
Yeah, Pacey walks up when Dawson's doing yard work. He's, like, picking up something. I don't know.
No, he was cleaning the yard from the storm.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, that's what... I just forgot.
I just didn't think Dawson would be the person that would clean up the mess.
Right, or Mitch would be there out there with him.
But maybe Mitch was in the front yard.
Yeah, it could have been.
Know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, so Pacey wanted to thank him for what he did, for saving him.
I did think it was funny, though, when Dawson says, you would have done the same thing, and Pacey's like,
maybe.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he first said maybe, but then he goes, I hope so.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Pacey would have.
Yeah, he would have.
He protects everybody.
Mm-hmm. And, Pacey was like, he knows that things can't be fixed after one conversation for the pain that he caused, and that he ruined their friendship because he misses it badly, So that's why he's saying sorry, and he looks forward to the day they might be friends again. And Pacey says until then, and Dawson said until then. So
Pacey with the speeches.
Yeah.
I give him an A+++.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh my gosh. And you can tell, like, I could feel it from him.
Yeah.
How come every time he makes a goddamn speech, I can feel it?
He's just good like that, I guess. But I was glad that we had this scene, because now we can finally hopefully see
Nope.
Pacey and Dawson, like,
kind of... You got some high expectations for this show.
Well, I'm hoping that they can, at least now they're, like, at a place where they can slowly maybe become friends again. Like,
all I know is Cynthia has some big, high expectations for this.
Well, it would be nice to see everybody get along again, but
it would be, possible. But Dawson's Creek is not that show.
Mm-hmm.
It goes downhill.
Yeah. So that was the end of the episode.
So what's your high and low?
The whole every time Jen and Pacey are on the boat, and then the high is Dawson saving them. What about yours?
Mine was... My low was Drue.
Yeah, he was pretty bad.
Bingham and Miss Valentine.
Oh, yeah.
They must be the Valentine family.
Yeah, I hate her more than Drue.
Yeah. Then my high was Graham's. I loved when she called out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What's his name, Mr. Brooks?
Yeah, Mr. Brooks. He's probably not going to show up after this episode, so... but that's his name.
Because all the plots always end.
Yeah.
Without being talked about. Mm-hmm. And then I would rate this an 8 again. I thought it kept my attention.
Yeah.
Even though I don't like certain characters, it still kept my attention.
Yeah.
What's yours?
Yeah, but my worst is Miss Valentine.
No, I was somewhat rating.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, same thing. 8. Yeah. My worst character was Miss Valentine for talking to Annie like that about her medical history, and then the best is Dawson just because he saved Pacey and Jen.
I'm really surprised you didn't say Andy.
Because, like, Dawson just had no choice, because nobody else was helping. Mr. Valentine's like, well, we haven't heard from them. If we haven't heard from them later, then we'll go out and look for them, like nobody was trying to do anything, so it was only Dawson that could save them. Especially because he was the only one that knew where they would even be in the cove, so that's why he was my favorite.
That's my favorite. The worst for me, this is what I wrote down. Grumpy man.
Oh, Mr. Brooks, yeah.
He literally wants to press charges.
Yeah.
Like, what? At least Andy stood up to Mrs. Valentine. Mm-hmm. But this guy is such a grump that he literally doesn't care if 2 people die.
Right.
And it's not even 2 people, it's 2 kids died. Like, who says that?
I know. Probably a lot of rich people, though, I'm guessing.
Yeah. And I'm sure you got insurance on the boat.
Yeah, like, they would only care if it was their kids that were in danger.
Yeah, I was just mad. So I was like, what? He's the worst.
Mm-hmm.
And then the best... Okay. I was going back and forth with this one.
Yeah.
Because Andy 100% stood out. Because she took charge.
Yeah.
She was on the radio with Dawson and Joey. Mm-hmm. She made Mrs. Valentine call parents.
Yeah.
Like, she was... nobody was...
organized.
Well, nobody...
You know what to do?
Well, no, but nobody put anything against the windows or anything. For the storm.
Exactly, yeah.
You're having a big storm.
Yeah.
Why isn't it already protected?
Yeah, because you think the yacht club would have been there for a lot of years already? Like, so when they had the hurricane before in season 1, what did they do then?
But days ahead if, like, a hurricane's coming.
Right.
So why wasn't everything boarded up?
I know.
The yacht club should have been closed.
Yeah.
It should have been boarded up. Mm-hmm. How come nothing is happening until Andy says something?
I don't know.
I just thought that was weird. I'm like, they were not prepared.
Maybe they weren't there for the other hurricane in season 1.
But it goes around town, I'm sure. Like, if you go down the road, everybody's places are boarded up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just weird that it happened as soon as Andy said something.
Mm-hmm.
But she took in charge. Was in charge and yelled at everybody. And which I think is what she does best. And so I picked the best one's Dawson. God damn it! Twice in a row?
Yeah, he had to be the hero in this one.
This is messed up. I thought season 4 was Pacey's year.
Mm-hmm. JC be laughing about you picking Dawson.
No, she be picking on me. Why aren't you picking on me?
No, I'm not. It's just funny.
Don't tell her either. So yes, he was the best. Cause it was either Andy or Dawson, but I was like, well, he did save 2 people's lives.
Yeah.
And he put his own in danger, even though he doesn't know how to drive a boat.
Yeah.
So yes, so that's why I picked him. Yeah. Because it was life or death. Andy's wasn't really.
Right.
But yes, so that's what I picked. So what's the next episode?
Episode 4, Future Tense.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Yep, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of Duo Chat. If you want to chime in with your opinion about the episode and the show we discussed, you can email us at duochatpodcast@gmail.com. And to keep up with updates about the podcast, you can follow us at Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Duo Chat Podcast. And give us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. We would really appreciate it.